Mind typically means many things to many people. To some people, mind is my brain, my biochemistry. Typically, when people are anxious or struggling or suffering with depression or anxiety, they relate it to the biochemistry of their mind. Many years ago, I had a thought, which was, what happens if we continue to replicate, ad nauseum, in a very habitual way, the same negative thoughts or the same measuring, judgmental thoughts? Couldn't that alter our brain chemistry? And indeed, the neuroscience is really proving that right now, and the Dalai Lama has been very instrumental in that work too. So in other words, we turn the model of the mind around, whereby our experience in life is not just informed by the biochemistry, but it's our thoughts which are impacting that biochemistry. So they really form a loop. And in that loop, a way through the struggle, through the obstacles and the walls that we keep running into, is to learn to really become the master of our thoughts, our feelings, our life experience, not in the mechanical way, but in a way that is authentic. And we no longer become enslaved to those thoughts. Let's take a look at depression. Literally, as a culture, we're experiencing an epidemic of anxiety and depression. And everybody's really busy running around treating the epidemic of anxiety and depression. I don't hear anyone asking, why? Why are we having this epidemic? If you put anxiety and depression together, it's likely that perhaps 50% of the American population at sometime in their lives will experience anxiety and or depression. 50%. So in other words, what we're calling a dysfunction is actually normal. So we are becoming the victims and we're victimizing ourselves. It would make sense to step back and say, well, wait a minute. If 1 out of 2 of us are experiencing this, what's going on here? What's going on here is we're stuck in the gears of Newton's world. Now, Newton's world, again, suggests that we are all separate from one another. One of the core experiences and flavors of depression is a feeling of being separate. That's what the despair comes from. Now, anxiety and depression can very well be informed from personal trauma from childhood and other times in your lives, and I'm not excluding or precluding that. But the prevailing worldview of Newton, which then becomes rooted in overconsumption, because without meaning and purpose, what do? We consume more, which doesn't give us meaning, and it doesn't give us purpose, but ultimately what it does do is it tends to lead us toward anxiety and depression. Now, let's go back and consider anxiety for a moment. In Newton's worldview, analyzing and measuring is of enormous value. It's a major tenet. It's how we train students in school. That's how we look at reality. What happens for many people is they get lost in the measuring and in the judging. And people who struggle with anxiety become the measurement. They become the analysis. They can't let go of it. Again, rooted in Newton's worldview. After all measurement is made up. It isn't real, but we create measurement to order our lives. And in so doing, we lose our souls. We lose our humanity. And we lose our connection to one another.